I got a question for you. You ready? Ready? Okay. What would you do if over 60 kids all said the same thing? That a UFO landed at their school and stepped out, and they were talked to telepathically. This isn't a movie. This actually happened. Let's talk about the Ariel School UFO Incident. Rocky. Rocky. Hey. Rocky. Hey. Were you listening? You were the worst co-host there has ever been. That is correct. We're talking about the Ariel UFO incident that happened all the way back in 1994. This is crazy. This is probably the most convincing alien sighting there has ever been, and it hasn't been debunked that I know of. If it has, comment down below, because I'm only human. I don't know everything, but I do know aliens are real. Now, before we get to that incident, we have to go back a couple nights before. On September 6th, a couple days before the incident at the school, at Ruwa, R-U-W-A, Ruwa. Am I saying that right? Anyway, it happened in Zimbabwe. There was strange lights in the sky. Most called it a meteor shower, no big deal, but a few said the lights were way too low and moved weird. So, pretty much, before we have one of the biggest alien sightings and incidences in the world, there was supposedly meteor showers. That is correct. The news broadcasted meteor showers and all that. And then aliens came into play? Seems too convenient. Now, fast forward a couple days to September 16th, 1994. The kids were just let out for recess. I believe the teachers were having a meeting of the minds, if I do say so myself. 62 kids were outside playing when they spot a shiny silver craft hovering over the trees. That's wild. I'm not going to lie. These kids reported a giant silver disc was floating above. They all were pointing at it, looking at it, trying to figure out what it was. And then out of the blue, the craft lands. I believe it was like a good amount of ways away. It's like towards the trees. It was in the trees a little bit, which I guess at least they're trying to hide their ship when they're landing. They landed and the kids all ran up to it basically, except for a couple. They ran away, because they're a bunch of pussies. Hey. Just spitting facts here. I gotta think, when you're a little kid at recess and if you saw a UFO land, would you have gone to it? Meanwhile, these kids don't know what aliens are, so that's what makes this case very interesting. I would have ran to it because I'm curious. And you know what curiosity does? It kills you. While the kids were investigating the ship, while they were looking at it, admiring it, Googling and goggling at it, a couple aliens apparently stepped out. Whoa, small figures, big heads, giant black eyes. They all stepped out, and the kids, some was starting to freak out. I'm not gonna lie, bunch of pussies over here in Zimbabwe. Bunch of pussies. That was until apparently these kids said in their testimony, these beings were starting to talk to them telepathically. Head, mind to mind, like what I'm about to do to Rocco. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. He didn't hear me. Oh. He heard something. Homie just wanted to drink of water. You're going to drink it or not? It's not poisonous, I swear. There you go. We're not weird, are we? All right, back to what I was saying. These aliens were talking to him telepathically, telling these kids special messages, apparently only for a bunch of 6 and 8-year-olds. So, yeah. Their message, you're hurting the planet. Technology is dangerous. And I believe there's something about warming. they were warming up the Earth. The Earth was warming up. So pretty much aliens came down in 1994. It was like global warming is real. Wild. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying what the alien said. All right. There we go. Look at this. Look at this dude. Look at this. Some even saw visions of Earth destruction, and every kid told basically the same story. Now, that's the part that makes this whole thing very interesting, is that they had over about 60 kids, 62 kids, all said the same thing. They saw aliens. They had black eyes, black suits. They were in a silver disc. They talked to us telepathically, and not a single kid came out and said they were lying. I don't know if you know this. You cannot get over 20 kids to lie together, telling the exact same story, and stick with it for many, many years. I'm not going to lie. What do you think? Do you think they're lying? 2 months go by, and then enters Dr. John Mack, a Harvard psychiatrist. He flew all the way out to interview these kids after doing an interview with every single kid individually. He believed them. I would too. I'm not going to lie. He said they were sincere, scared, and consistent. But when he stood by their story, Harvard investigated him. Colleagues called him crazy. He didn't care. He knew what they saw. Which I think is wild. So pretty much Harvard was like, so Harvard investigated him, and I believe he came out on top on that, which, to be honest, if Harvard investigates you and you still come out on top, I don't know. Maybe we should listen to him. Yeah, no, he did not give a shit what they said about him. He just literally knew they saw something. Years later, the kids are now adults, still sticking to their story. Some still cry when they talk about it. One said, "I don't care if anyone believes me. I know what I saw." And then as for Dr. Mack, he was sadly killed. Dr. Mack was sadly killed by a drunk driver in 2004. His research was starting to gain traction, bro. He was coming up with something. Something was about to make a break. And he died to a drunk driver. Son of a bitch. They got my boy John. That was a real tear for John. You guys see that? That was a real tear for John. Now, after looking into the internet is also an amazing place for scenarios like this, is because apparently I saw there was some strong support for it, but then there was also like, there's no credible evidence for it, but I've seen a lot of people talk about it. Apparently, there was 3 other men named John Mack that died the same night. Which, kind of wild. If I'm being honest, we're talking about a man who was really close to the brink of aliens and evidence of that night and all this good, amazing stuff. And he dies, along with 3 other men named John Mack, allegedly. If it's not true, then John just died to a drunk driver, which sucks, honestly. I that is like the most tragic thing to happen, if I'm being completely honest. So conclusion. So a lot of people were blaming the mass hallucinations, and then we got mass hysteria, which I think, is that the same thing? And they were blaming it on the meteor showers that they saw a couple nights before. They were throwing everything at it, but 62 kids still say to this day the exact story that they started with when they were younger, when they saw aliens. So I want you guys to be the judge. Let me know what you guys think down below. I believe they saw aliens. 100%. Rocky, what do you think? This man passed out again. I'm looking for a new co-host at this point. Rocco. I'm gonna whisper in his ear. Let me know down below. Do you think these kids saw aliens, or are they all master manipulators? And they all deserve a good old spanking. Like, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. And bye-bye.